Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch have accused the Israeli Defense Forces of using white phosphorus weapons in Gaza and Lebanon. Citing certain eyewitness accounts and video evidences, they have said that the Israel's use of such weapons in densely populated areas poses grave long-term risk to the civilians. However, the Israeli Defense Force have denied these allegations. As the highly controversial white phosphorus weapon is widely discussed in news, UPSC may frame a question on the substance white phosphorus in the coming prelims. UPSC have asked similar questions in the previous years. For example, when you look into 2022 question paper, they have asked about the fractional orbital bombardment system. In 2021, they have asked about triclosan, and in 2018, they have asked about THAAD defense system. UPSC may also frame a map-based question with respect to the areas where conflict is happening. For example, in 2022 paper, you might have found a question regarding the countries bordering Afghanistan. It was because Taliban took over Afghanistan in that time. In 2023, UPSC also asked about the countries bordering Ukraine. Now that is because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. As Israel-Gaza war is happening, now you can expect such a question for the upcoming prelims. So now we will divide this video in two sections. First is, what is white phosphorus? Second, we are going to discuss what are the military uses of white phosphorus. Third, we will then be discussing the harmful effects of white phosphorus. Then fourth, we will be discussing about the legal status of white phosphorus weapons. Fifth, what is UN Convention on Conventional Weapons? Finally, we will look into the map of the region, as UPSC have consistently asked region-based questions. So now let's start with the topic. So first we are going to discuss about what is white phosphorus. White phosphorus technically is a pyrophoric substance. So you might be wondering, what is pyrophoric substance? Pyrophoric substances are those which ignite spontaneously or very quickly when in contact with air. Thus, white phosphorus, when exposed to air, produces thick, light smoke as well as intense heat. Now, we will move on to the second part, that is, what are the military uses of white phosphorus? Its primary military use is as a smoke screen, which is used to hide the troop movement on the ground and also to start fires. You need to understand that white phosphorus was widely used during World War I by the British and the Commonwealth forces. Now these weapons have since been used in conflicts around the world, which ranges from the US invasion of Iraq in 2004 to that of the recent Russian invasion of Ukraine. Now we are going to discuss how harmful is white phosphorus. White phosphorus can cause severe burns, and even its exposure to 10% of the body is said to be fatal. Apart from the damages to human body, white phosphorus can also devastate infrastructure, damage crops and kill livestock. Now let us discuss about the legal status of white phosphorus weapons. You may know that the chemical weapons are dealt under UN Chemical Weapons Convention, which is signed by almost all UN member countries. It requires the countries to destroy all chemical weapons and prohibits developing, stockpiling or using chemical weapons. Now you may be wondering, how then countries including Israel could use a chemical like white phosphorus in war? This is because white phosphorus is not considered a chemical weapon. It is considered as a conventional weapon. You might be wondering why. Now, it is because Chemical Weapon Convention mentions that a weapon is considered as chemical weapon only if it is toxic to human or animals. On the other hand, now when you look into white phosphorus, the main purpose of using it is to create smoke and is not used as a toxic chemical. Thus, the use of white phosphorus is not governed under the Chemical Weapons Convention. Instead, it is governed by another convention of UN, which is the UN Convention on Conventional Weapons. Now let us move on to the next section and discuss about the Convention on Conventional Weapons. This convention came into force in 1983 and it seeks to prohibit or restrict the use of certain conventional weapons which are considered excessively injurious or whose effects are indiscriminate. The aim of the convention and its protocol is to protect the civilians from injury by weapons that are used in armed conflicts, as well as to protect the combatants from unnecessary suffering. As of 2023, 127 countries are party to the convention, which also include India. The convention has 5 protocols, and among these protocols, the Protocol 3 restricts the use of incendiary weapons, which are those weapons which are designed to start fire. This convention does not put a blanket ban on all incendiary weapons. So as a result, white phosphorus escapes the prohibition. Now we'll move on to the final section, that is the map study. We have identified 6 possible area of questions that UPSC may ask based on this event. One is the countries bordering Israel. Second one, the location of Dead Sea. Third one, the location of Gaza and West Bank and the Jordan River. Fourth one, we will also discuss about the countries having coast in this region. Fifth, we will discuss about the major port cities in Israel. And finally, some important regions in this area. So let's move on to the first one, that is the countries which are bordering Israel. You can see here, Israel is bordered by Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, and the Palestinian territories which are West Bank and the Gaza Strip. Also note that the Israel shares boundary with Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea. Second, you should know the location of Dead Sea. Dead Sea is wedged between the Israel and Jordan. You may be wondering why West Bank is known as West Bank even though it is located in the east of Israel. The name West Bank is derived from the fact that it is the western bank of Jordan River. Among the 2 Palestinian territories, only Gaza have access to sea. West Bank doesn't have a maritime boundary. Also note that Gaza shares boundary with Egypt. Now, another important area that must be noted here is the Rafah crossing point. Now, this is the sole crossing point between Egypt and the Gaza Strip. Recently, this crossing point was also in use as it was opened to let essential goods to flow to Palestinians amidst this war. Now, we will look into countries in the region who shares borders with the Mediterranean Sea. So, in case of Mediterranean Sea, you can see that Egypt, Israel and Lebanon has access to Mediterranean Sea. On the other hand, Syria and Jordan do not have access to Mediterranean Sea. Next, you have to look into the Red Sea. In case of countries sharing boundary with Red Sea, these are Jordan, Israel and Egypt. Next, let's move on to the major port cities of Israel. Haifa, Ashdod and Eilat are important ports in Israel. Here, Eilat is located in the Gulf of Aqaba, that is in the Red Sea, and Haifa and Ashdod are located in the Mediterranean Sea. Lastly, let's learn names of some of the regions in this area. Golan Heights was actually part of Syria, but Israel occupied the Golan Heights after the Arab-Israel War of 1967. You need to understand that it is still under the control of Israel. Next is the Sinai Peninsula. It was part of Egypt, but again Israel occupied Sinai after the 1967 war. But in 1982, as a result of the Egypt-Israel peace treaty, Israel withdrew from the Sinai Peninsula. Last is the Negev region, which is a semi-desert region of southern Israel. So with this, we are concluding the topic. To get additional information like the dimensions of the present conflict, the history of the conflict, as well as to understand India's relation with Israel and Palestine, please download the Yoda IAS study package. In this study package, we have comprehensively covered all the aspects of Israel-Palestine conflict. The link to download the PDF is provided in the description given in the video. So, see you in the next video. Take care, stay safe, and bye-bye.